I hope he doesn't get the sickness.
My boy Kurt is a stay-at-home dad, watching Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedle dumb, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leaves him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beast dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need 3 wishes. Stay-at-home Disney dad.
If this wasn't Robin Williams, I'd be a little worried. Also a little disappointed the VHS tape itself wasn't green. Coming soon to theaters, Mulan. Coming soon to video cassette, Leslie Nielsen is Mr. Magoo. Yes, let's all laugh at the visually impaired. I mean, it's been going on for a while. Wait, is that where the Frozen Man meme came from? Up next, Spirit of the Mickey, done. Pocahontas 2, done. Lion King, Simba's Pride, done. The Black Cauldron, done. I guess I'm almost 80 reviews deep already. They're piling up. This is a good feeling. There's going to come a day when I run out of videotapes, probably the same day my daughter goes off to college, and then I don't know what's going to happen. Classic blue Disney logo to start the way it should be. Nice tracking shot of a kid on his bike through the leaves to start. Good job, 1997. We see the inside of a scientist's lab. An alarm clock goes off, and Robin Williams tries to hit it to turn it off and go back to sleep, and instead he hits a different button, and outside a garbage can launches into the air. See, everything in this house is a crazy invention. This reminds me of Gremlins, but I got a feeling, with all due respect to the late Mr. Williams, this ain't gonna be no Gremlins. Some robots make his breakfast. Someone wants to close his college, and he's trying to come up with enough money to save it. That's the plot of this. Williams' character is Professor Brainard. Brainard. He seems to have forgotten he's getting married today, which is something someone easily forgets. We meet his wife-to-be, and she's talking about the wedding later that day and justifying how he apparently forgot to show up the first 2 times they were supposed to get married. You see, kids, in 1997, mentally abusive relationships were comedy. Williams arrives at an art class and starts teaching science. So this guy is a brilliant bumbler. Also, there's nude models in the art class, so that's funny. Then there's a pee joke, which is also funny. And he's reminded that his wedding is today. His bride keeps driving home that it's 6:30 tonight, 6:30 tonight, over and over and over. Because, you know, foreshadowing. While no one is home, the robot butler is interacting with the other appliances by telling the vacuum to download some manners. This floating orb thing sounds like Ariel or Jodie Benson. We get the ominous bad guy music, and we meet a passive-aggressive teacher who apparently has stolen all of Professor Brainard's ideas over the years. I guess that's a real thing. Brainard forgets everything. Bad teacher straight up tells him he's going to come to his wedding and steal his fiancée when he doesn't show up later today. Wow, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to tie him up and hang him over a vat of sharks before revealing your big secret plan. Also, it's Tappy Tibbins, the juice guy from Requiem for a Dream. Awesome. At home, Professor gets an idea, and he's off. It's a breakthrough. He runs to the basement. He starts sciencing, and the basement explodes. At 6:30, his fiancée is walking down the aisle, and he's not there. Back home, he kicks a vat out of anger and hurts his foot, but that caused something to happen now. He opens it, and here's what I'm assuming is flubber. It's like green gelatin that makes farting noises. Some tomfoolery as he stretches and bounces it. His robot orb takes a picture of the goo, and it goes nuts when the flash goes off. See, it's just like a gremlin. It ping-pongs around the room and escapes out the window. Across the street, a dad is tucking his son into bed, and he tells him, "There's nothing to be afraid of, son. There's nothing coming through your window tonight." Then Flubber smashes through the window, and that's funny. Professor gets it back and says it's a flying rubber. It's Flubber! Okay, the wedding's over because he didn't show up. Why is that kid afraid of someone coming through his window? Okay, Tappy Tibbins gives her a ride home. I don't get what the deal is with this professor and the floating robot. I think the floating robot is in love with him, and because of that, it won't remind him of his wedding today. When Williams finally remembers, it's too late. He missed it. He goes to his fiance's house, and he tries to justify standing her up a 3rd time by showing her his breakthrough. It's Flubber. She's not having any of it. To show her how awesome Flubber is, he puts Flubber in his pocket, and then he jumps out the window to demonstrate how he's going to bounce back up. But he doesn't, and he just splats spread eagle on the ground below. She looks out the window and says, "We're done," and closes the window. Zagged when I was expecting a zig. I laughed pretty hard at that. That was a good scene. There's some bad guys spying on the professor through the broken basement window as he continues to science. He throws Flubber, and it ping-pongs around the lab. and then it goes and hits one of the bad guys right in the face. Then he applies it to a bowling ball and bounces the bowling ball around, and the bowling ball hits the other guy in the face. We are in Home Alone territory. Now we borrow from Back to the Future. As he puts some in his car or something, he soups up his car and he says car words, and now the car is flying. I don't even know what I'm watching anymore. Birds are attacking his car. He hovers over Tappy Tibbins, and he and his fiancée Sarah, and they almost kiss, but then Sarah pulls away, and Professor Brainard or whatever says, Sir Isaac Newton, and hits Tappy with an apple. They think this guy's name is Wilson. I'm going to keep him calling him Tappy. Juice by Tappy, juice by Tappy. Whoa, we are back with the two stooges who are spying on the professor, and they're explaining to their bad guy boss about how Professor Brain has a special cream. Bad boss doesn't believe him. The floating robot starts clip arting together a woman and turns it into a hologram. Then he tries to seduce the professor with the hologram. I am so disturbed by this. But then he snaps awake and says, I got it! And Flubber is going to a basketball game. Because I was going to say, if there's one thing this movie's missing, it's basketball. He does a bunch of Flubber bounce-related tests and bumbles them all. I want to find someone out there whose favorite Disney movie is Flubber. That person has to exist. I have so many questions. He's about to drive away, and he makes the floating robot promise not to release Flubber from his case. Does foreshadowing bounce? I guess we're about to find out. We're now in the basketball locker room, and the coach is giving a terrible pep talk to his basketball team, which is a collection of short, pudgy white kids with glasses. And you want to know a secret? You want to know some trivia? Those kids don't sign up to play basketball. The game starts, of course they're losing, but while this is a kids game, for some reason it has full adult women as cheerleaders. Okay, Sarah and Winston or Wilson, it's Tappy and Professor Brain, and the three bad guys are all sitting in the stands in this high school basketball game. Okay, back at home, the robot lets out Flubber, but we all knew that was going to happen to the point where they almost didn't even need to show that scene. Back at the game, I think that one bad guy, one of the goons, was either a prison guard in Oz or he was a guy in Battlestar Galactica, or both. The main boss bad guy is betting on a high school basketball game. I mean, this movie has already crossed the line of lunacy where you can just shrug and accept that. There's a super long scene where the Flubber breaks into a million little person-shaped Flubbers and they do a line dance. Here we go. Williams puts the Flubber cream on his hand and he high-fives the team of out-of-shape nerds as they return to the court. The announcer says, the squirrels are getting their nuts buried, because that's the name of the team, and I'll never understand why they need to sneak these lowbrow adult jokes into live-action Disney movies, but they always do. The team obviously starts jumping way too high and slam dunking, and okay, I didn't think this was important, but I guess it was, because that's where this is going. Tappy had bet Sarah that if the blue team lost this game, then they would have to go up to the cabin together. So Professor Brain is making sure this team wins by cheating to trick the woman he forgot to marry 3 times so she can't move on from him. Because he's the good guy in this movie. Things go the professor's way, but he's still struck out with Sarah. And he goes home sad and pours his heart out to the flying robot that has the hots for him. I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what could happen isn't going to happen, but wouldn't that be a risky script for Disney in 1997, right? Black Mirror would have nothing on Flubber. The flying robot feels bad and goes and wakes up Sarah and shows her the video of the professor professing his love to her. He's absent-minded because he's in love with her. Now Sarah slowly leans forward and kisses the flying robot, and I lean forward as well, but then the scene cuts. Now the professor has Sarah in his flying car. She says, this is how we save the school. Air travel. Yeah, they invented flying cars, and they're going to use that to save a school. And do you think they're going to use this cream in the bedroom? Come on! No, everybody was thinking it. No, don't put that on my lap. Everyone was thinking. Shut up. Everybody was thinking that. The bad guy boss threatens Professor and wants the cream to get his son back on the basketball team. Yeah, that's where this is all going. He kicks him off his property, but the 2 henchmen break into the house and destroy his lab. The flying robot starts smashing one robber in the head. By God, he's busted wide open. Then the orb goes to attack the other robber, but the first robber that's busted open knocks her out of the air with a bat. Sarah and the professor return from selling the Flubber cream to some rich guy, and the place is trashed and Flubber is gone. We get a death scene with the flying robot. And as she dies, she displays a file name, hashtag 1997. A file name, ladies and gentlemen. They look up the file name, and it's a, if you're seeing this, I'm dead video from a human girl who I think represents the robot. I don't even know anymore. She says she has a daughter. I'm an adult, and I'm finding it really hard to follow this plot. Angrily, they take their flying car to the bad boss, who is the professor he owes the money to. I don't know. He offers to sell him Flubber, but the boss says I already stole it. Okay. Professor Brain says he wants a 30-day extension on the loan. Bad guy agrees and then says as part of the deal, he gets to own whatever Professor invents in the next 2 years. Oh, betrayal. Tappy is actually working for the main bad professor. I guess this is the climax of the movie. Professor and Sarah run the Flubber cream on each other's hands. One henchman has a squirt gun. Tappy says, give it to him. The henchman sprays the professor. No, give it to him. He sprays him again. This gag goes on for like another 30 seconds. He has his car floating outside the window, lined up and ready to go. I'm getting a last episode of Breaking Bad vibes, like quick pop the trunk. Spoiler. Professor is allowed to hold the Flubber cream, and then the car's headlights pop on and it goes crazy. Throwback, there's like an Inception fight scene where Professor and Sarah defy gravity and bounce all over the place and repel weapons. Flubber knocks the main bad guy through the front window and Tappy swallows Flubber, which makes him shake and dance funny. And then he says, "Mommy," and it pops out his mouth and he falls over. Dead? My daughter says, that could have gone better. She totally got that line from me. I'm proud of her. The nightmare is over. Professor and Sarah are getting married, but it's live via video camera because she's at the wedding and he's still at home in his basement sciencing, and the basement explodes again. All right, final thing. I've been ignoring it, but throughout the movie, there's been that little boy that lives across the street, and he keeps seeing all the crazy stuff that's happening, but nobody believes him. It's the kid I mentioned at the start where he's telling his dad he's worried someone's going to come through his window again, and then Flubber crashes through, and this stuff just went on through. This was like an entire side story through the entire movie. He constantly sees Flubber, and he sees the bad guy flying through the air, all that. No one believes him. It ends where he's on a plane with PTSD, and his dad is like, we're in the air. There's no imaginary made-up dangers here, so go ahead. Look out the window if you want, kid. So the kid looks out the window of the plane, and he sees the flying car, and Flubber splats against the window, and he screams, and his already fragile mental state is forever shattered, and it's been, 30 years now, and he's never had a long-term job or a relationship because he suffered a horrific breakdown as a kid, and when he saw real scary stuff, and nobody believed him, which resulted in long-term trauma and trust issues forever. Flubber!
That's what I think about.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal appearance is not the best. I was wondering if the man has some kind of a hold over the channel that he's allowed to be employed for so long with the standards of journalism and personal appearance that he has. Thank you.